Good afternoon, it's Postbag. Right, let's start with this one. It does date back a few months. Oh, look at that, it's an LED kit. Yeah, also these were in there, so it's quite a colourful one. These are terminal posts, 4mm banana plug style terminal posts in lots of funky colours. Actually very similar colours to this, red, yellow, green, blue. This one's black. These are red, yellow, green, blue, and I'm pretty sure these are white because if I tip it like this, every now and again I just get a little glimpse of the white phosphor in there. These have a much larger diameter thread than the ones I have been using. Let's have a look at those. Yes, these ones, these eBay ones, have what looks like a 3mm diameter thread. And actually these come apart completely. If I take the two nuts and the tag washer, which is quite handy, and the regular washer off, it completely comes apart to that, and the metal insert comes out as well, which is now on the floor. Yeah, these are completely different. I'm not quite sure what the purpose of this thing is. It's kind of an expanding tube with that ring on it, so I don't quite know what that is meant for. And these are going to be a problem actually, because I want to screw these down into pieces of wood to make up essentially breadboards of terminals on wood. But if I'm using that as my clamp, then I'll be relying on the turning of the thread in the wood to clamp that down. If I don't bother with that and just screw that directly into the wood, I suppose I could clamp this upper piece down. There's a bit of a thread in there, and trap my terminals, my spade terminals, into that gap. It's not quite the same at all. These are entirely different. These don't come apart at all. This top part clamps down onto the bottom part, but if you unscrew it, it actually stops at that point. And then this was what I was screwing into wood, but this little pip on the end was causing a problem because it was kind of enlarging the hole in the wood, and then the thread wouldn't grip terribly well. Although actually it did grip because one of them sheared off, didn't it? Sheared off at that point. Yeah, so these are very different, but they might work. The 3mm thread going into a 3mm hole in the wood might work better. And there is a trap point in between this metal piece and actually that top. And then of course there's the 4mm socket in there as well. So yeah, they might be okay. So they're intended for this sort of thing, a circuit on breadboard where I've got 4mm sockets to be able to plug multimeters and that sort of thing in. But there's also spade terminals so that I can trap these connecting wires in. Actually, looking at this, it does seem like it's probable that you're meant to trap your spade connectors in that top section and then just clamp this top piece down on it rather than attempt to get it in that bottom piece. I think this sleeve piece might be for panel mounting in some way, but actually yeah, that fits fine. Now often I've got 3 of those, so is there enough thread on here to get 3 of those in? Yeah, I think there is just about enough thread to get 3 of those in. Yeah, I think those actually will be fine. And of course eBay is a much easier source than these, which I think came from Rapid Electronics. Because the problem there is that you only get free shipping if you order, I think, £30 worth. And I'm not organised enough to build up a list of £30 worth of stuff to place an order. It's much easier for me to just periodically place orders for 99p or 99 cents worth of these and just have them sort of trickling in over time. As for the LEDs, there's a little piece of tape on there which I'll have to cut. Of course, it's useful to have a continuous supply of these things. For this sort of thing, possibly I make up these little 3mm LEDs with an integral resistor so I can just plug them into breadboard and make little logic circuits and that sort of thing. Red, yellow, green and blue, and yes, these are indeed white in both 5mm and 3mm. Let's just light a couple of these up using a 3-volt lithium coin cell. Let's first just check that these are white, so long side to long side generally. And yeah, those are white. And oh, let's light up a blue one just for the fun of it. Oh, that's nice. That's almost, well, it looks ultraviolet almost on the camera, but it's blue to my eye. Right, I've got to find these on eBay now, and these date back to August, so let's give it a go. So the terminal posts are these 20 pieces, 5 colours, so that will be 4 of each colour, won't it? A 4mm speaker terminal, socket, binding post, nut, banana plug, jack connector, $3.46 for 20 pieces, free shipping. These came from Dan Yehu, or Danny Ehu, 1984. And the LED kit is a 300 pieces, 3mm, 5mm LED light, white, yellow, red, blue, green assortment diodes kit, new. So that's 300 pieces for $3.33, just a little bit more than a cent per LED. Free shipping, of course, that's also Danny Ehu 1984. Okay, next one is this. What's in the little yellow package? Massive resistors. Yeah, big power resistors, 100 watts, 1 ohm. Oh, that's 4 ohms. Why is that 4 ohms? Right, well, that's annoying. I'm pretty sure I ordered 2 of the 1 ohm resistors because I wanted 1 ohms for a very specific reason. And that is I wanted to put a voltmeter across it. And, of course, volts would also read amps with 1 ohm. Nice, easy bit of Ohm's law there. They've sent me a 1 ohm and a 4 ohm. But I can see from my eBay listing that this is a listing for 1, 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10 ohm 100 watt resistors. And I can't see where I selected the actual ones I wanted. So maybe the seller just gave me a random selection. 1 ohm was what I wanted. 4 ohms most definitely wasn't. Right, I'm not promoting that seller. I'll just find anyone who's selling these. So the idea here was when I'm transferring energy from one supercapacitor block to another one, using my sort of MOSFET switching circuit, I wanted some sort of protection against sort of infinite current being transferred and everything burning out. So I thought 1 ohm resistors, 1 ohms, as I say, being making a voltmeter into an ammeter. But actually, I've since bought some 10 amp ammeters, so the 1 ohm resistor thing perhaps not quite as necessary as it was in my original idea. And actually, while I'm at it, let's open this one because I have opened it because I just want to see what it looked like. But it is another one of these supercapacitor modules, similar to this, but slightly different. It's got the capacitors might be the same actually. Elna, are they the same? Oh, I can't see. Oh, those are Dynacap. Yeah, these are Dynacap. Yes, I think they're the same. 2.7 volt, 120 farad, 6 of them in series. But the circuit board is a bit different. This one's black. This one's green. Is the layout the same? No, not. It's that way around, isn't it? Not exactly. Let me get a little bit closer in on that. Yeah, I mean they're the same components. This is a C73. This is the voltage detector, 2.7 volts, I think it is. Actually, I can't remember. I have to think back or maybe watch my old video where I looked at all this circuitry. These are 10 ohm resistors marked 100, but that's 10 ohms. These are 4R7, again 2 in parallel. So actually this board is going to be able to pull twice as much current through those 2 resistors as this one. I need to find a place on here to mount a couple of these blue LEDs because I like to see when these circuits switch in. But yeah, I just thought I'd buy the other type. I've probably made life difficult for myself now because I found a good place to put an LED there, and I'm going to have to do that all over again with this one. But I just fancied something a bit different to see, well, how they differ. But the MOSFET is the same part number and the voltage detector is the same part number, so I think it's the same circuit. Now, another way to protect against sort of instantaneous very high current transfers between these supercapacitor modules would be fuses, but probably not this type of fuse because it's very inconvenient just having those blow all the time. Probably these polyfuses, which are sort of thermal devices, which when they heat up, they expand, go very high resistance, and therefore effectively cut the circuit off. Then gradually over time they contract and make contact again. Quite a primitive thing. I think it's just some carbon in there or something like that, but highly effective, used everywhere, of course. And here's one I made where I took the fuse, probably intentionally blew it so that it just acts as a carrier, put the polyfuse on there, and also put a little indicator bulb on it so that when the fuse blows, the light comes on and you can see that the fuse blew. It's quite cute, that. Yeah, this compartment drawer doesn't often see the light of day. Bulbs and fuses, including polyfuses and regular fuses. Where did that one go? There. So here's someone selling 50 watt and 100 watt resistors. Oh, in a huge range from 0.01 ohms to 5k ohms. Watt, shell, power, aluminium, housed case, wire wound resistor. There's a select box here with a vast number. Now, I've got a feeling select boxes don't get captured by OBS. I'll come back to that. Right, these are just 99 cents each, free shipping, and these ones are being sold by Zany M. Let's go old school and just have a look at that select box. And by old school, I mean handheld camera. Looking at the screen, so it's all going to be a bit wobbly because I'm trying to hold this with my left hand while I scroll through these. But we've got 50 watt from 0.01 ohms right up to, still 50 watt, 500R, and then 100 watt, again 0.01, and there's the 100 watt 1 ohms, which I bought all the way up again to, 5k. Yes, they've got a bigger selection in the 100 watt range. And the supercapacitor module is, of course, called a farad capacitor. Oh, it's not farad, it's farad. 2.7 volts, 120 farads. Well, those are the individual capacitors. Of course, you've got to divide by 6 if you want the total block capacitance. 6 pieces of those. Well, okay, they're selling them as individual capacitors on a protection board. Green cap, supercapacitor with protection board. This module was $15.84. Oh, there's also a $2.88 shipping charge. And this one came from Hayu88. And should we do one more? Yes, okay. This one has just literally dropped through the door. So why not? It's very current. What is it? Oh yes, it's a sort of knockoff lithium powered torch that actually contains a sort of lipo pouch cell and a little circuit. Oh yeah, that looks like fun. Let's have a play with that. Oh, actually, it looks like we can play with that now. Yeah, we can. Double click. Oh, what's that doing? Okay, that's just dim. It's strobing a bit with the camera. So that's on. Oh, it goes through different brightnesses. What's double click then? Double click's not anything. Double click's irrelevant. It's single click, bright, off, dim, off. Double click just does the same as single click. What's that all about? Oh, I wonder if that means that the chip was changed at some point. And originally, yes, you did have to double click it for maximum brightness, because that's what it says here, double click for maximum output. But actually you have to, from off, well, it depends which off you're in. From this off, you have to treble click it, and from that off, you have to single click it. So maybe this branding stuff was all printed and they were using a different chip, and now they're using this chip, and it's just simply a 4-state thing: off, dim, off, bright. Interesting. Well, no, actually the plot thickens, because it says here, first press 1 lumen, second press 45. Press and hold to enter momentary turbo mode, release to turn off. Well, that works. That's turbo mode, release to turn off. Press and hold. So that's a sort of momentary action with the maximum brightness. but then that doesn't look much different to that, which is the maximum brightness version if you just press it. There's another one here. What's that? Second press hold to access infinitely variable brightness to 45 lumens. Let's try that. 1, 2. Oh no, that didn't work. 1, 2. Oh yeah, and that's varying in brightness. So I don't quite understand. Oh yeah, that goes up to maximum and then suddenly changes back to minimum. That's going to be very difficult to capture that maximum brightness point, isn't it? Because you can't predict it. This is such fun. Right, let's rip it out of its packaging, like so. Oh, I seem to have broken the keychain. Oh, maybe I haven't. Maybe you just get supplied various types of keychain. Right, let's get in close. Right, identifiable parts. Obviously a pouch cell there, single cell, 3.7 volts. There's some sort of chip there. Looks like it's 8-pin. There's a USB charging socket there, so that's how you charge the battery. LED there. It looks like a standard 5mm white, but maybe it's high brightness. Looks like a transistor there, and on this side there's some sort of SOT23, either 5-pin or 6-pin device there. Resistors, little LED there, so that's probably the charge LED. In fact, let me just yank the charge lead out of my camera because it doesn't really hold a charge these days, and see if I can poke it in there. No, I can't because I can't get that little thing out. 1 second. Right, that's coaxed it out. I'm working with about 1.5 inches between the camera and the item on the bench here, so it's quite tricky. Is that the right way around? Don't know. Let's try it that way. Oh yeah, we've got a little red LED. Now, will that go green? Is that bi-colour? Doesn't look like it. Looks like it's a single LED. Maybe it'll just go off when this thing's fully charged. But yeah, that's quite neat. I'm pretty sure this is a rip-off of sort of Nightcore or torches of that type of branding. This doesn't have any branding other than it just says tube on it. But yeah, that's quite neat. Right, I've locked the exposure on the camera because that turbo mode doesn't look to me any different from the regular bright mode that you can select. Let's try it. So that's dim, that's bright, off, turbo. They're identical, it's no different. If you press and hold, yeah, that's the one where you get the turbo. And if you do a second press and hold, that's the one where you get the variable light level. But it really should go up and then back down again because you cannot capture that maximum brightness. Oh, actually, there is a way of doing it. You wait for the strobing to stop. Yeah, look at that. Hang on. 1, 2, press and hold. If you wait for the strobing to stop, there, you know that the LED is no longer being pulse width modulated. Oh, it's just mucking about really, isn't it? Well, maybe I'll put this on my keys actually, because I used to have this on my keys, but it was a bit of a nuisance really. This is the TI3, because you turn it on and it comes on as incredibly dim, and then you had to go off, on to get the brightest mode. Just would have been more handy. I mean, you can see I used it quite a lot because the anodizing is quite well worn. Just would be more handy if it came on bright, because you just want to see where you're going. So if you just press and hold, yeah, this could actually be more useful. So this torch is a 2 modes. Actually, it's more like about 55 modes, isn't it? Mini USB LED keychain flashlight rechargeable torch. Oh, and all the other stuff. The select box just contains the colours. Why did I get white? That's really weird that I would get the plain white. Well, actually, maybe the idea was so that I could see the lithium cell in there through the clear plastic, so that I could keep an eye on it for puffing up or any sort of things that might look a bit dodgy. Because, I mean, you are going to be carrying this lithium cell around in your pocket, encased only in plastic. Anyway, this was $4.09, free shipping, and oh, this also came from Danny Ihu, 1984. And so these are today's postbag items. Quite a lot of them today. So as usual, I'd like to say a huge thanks to Patreon supporters who make these Postbag videos, among others, entirely possible. If you would like to become a Patreon supporter, then you can click this link here. Another couple of videos up here if you'd like to watch more of my stuff. And if you want to subscribe to this channel, that's assuming you're not already subscribed to this channel, click here. Cheerio.